Tim Reynolds with the AP. Joe, can you share any lasting memories of Jerry West and your time in West Virginia and just what he means to the state, to the game, to you?
Yeah, it's tough losing. Obviously, praying for Karen and Johnny and Ryan and the rest of their family. But my junior year in college wasn't living up to anyone's standards, and I get a call, and it's Jerry, and a lot of explicatives, but essentially told me that I was an F up and was ruining an opportunity to be great at something, and just let me have it for like 10, 15 minutes. And I thought it was one of the most impactful phone calls that I had really in my life. And stayed at his house once and overslept for UCLA Open Gym, and went down for breakfast and got another ass chewing because I wasn't being competitive enough. And so, I think I remember about him is like, he had a tough way of showing that he loved you, but he was super, super competitive, and he really, really cared about you, and he showed it in a way that like kind of spoke to my language. So he'll be missed, and praying for the family.
Standing in the back left, Tim.
Joe, just obviously you guys announced that Kristaps is not able to go today. Is there any indication of whether that means anything beyond today, or are you still taking that as a day-by-day approach?
No, just day-to-day. Just the medical team and the staff just decided that it wasn't what's best for him to go tonight. So just be a day-to-day thing, see how he is tomorrow and the next day.
And obviously you guys have had a lot of success in the playoffs without him, or used to playing without him. What are the challenges that are now presented without having him against this Dallas team today?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you saw in the first two games his rim protection, his ability to space the floor, but I think the thing that has occurred us this year is our depth. It just looks different. So the guys ready to step in can do different things and have a positive impact, which they've done, and so we just have to rely on that.
Any other questions here for Coach? Dan, over here on the left. Dan.
Yep. Yeah, Joe, just how much do you feel for Kristaps with how hard he's battled to get back, and then he has this mishap, and he wants to go out there and play.
Yeah, listen, it's tough, but I appreciated just his approach. Throughout the whole playoffs, he's like I said, he's never missed any meeting. He's always been out there, done everything he can to play, and sometimes it's an unfortunate situation. It's nothing that he could do. So definitely feel for him, but appreciate kind of where he's at, and I trust him to do everything he can to get ready, for the next game.
Standing on the right side over here, Adam.
He said to us last night, like, if it's his call at all, he's playing, but he's leaving it. You guys can take it out of his hands, basically. Was that how it happened, and what was kind of the process throughout the day where you guys realized he wasn't able to go, and how was that final determination made?
KP did not play. He didn't look right. That was it. I mean, I wasn't involved in it, but that's what, like you said, it was out of his hands. It was up to the medical team. They watched him kind of go through some testing, and they just said it didn't feel right. So you're not playing. Let's get ready for tomorrow and hopefully the next day.
Back left, fifth row.
Coach, you seem right here. You seem to be very inspired by the game of soccer. I'm just curious, like, how did you first learn about it? Like, did you play the game yourself when you were younger?
Yeah, I did.
At what position?
A little bit everywhere. I mean, when you're not that good, they just throw you around in a bunch of different places, see where to stick.
And what do you love most about it?
I mean, a lot of stuff. I think it's just the beauty of the game, the flow of the game. I think when you have, it's different. Like soccer is much different than the game of basketball, where a basketball star is only defined by like scoring. Soccer, you have to really pay attention to the game to recognize the impact that each individual player is doing, because points are at a premium, and each guy in the right position has a direct impact on the guy in the next position. And so greatness, you actually have to pay attention to it and look for it, whereas in basketball, you can just look at a stat sheet and say, oh, it must have been this guy that played really well. And so really the depths to which you have to go to understand greatness and the complexity and the beauty and the connectivity that goes into playing a game.
Back right, sixth row.
Joe, you mentioned testing specifically as best you can. Can you describe what Kristaps was asked to do and how close he was to being?
I wasn't on it, I have no idea.
What other details might they have shared then?
Zero.
Dan on the left side, standing up.
Coach Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Guys like Luke and O'Shea and Xavier, do you have any kind of different conversation with them when you find out where it's definitely a no-go on KP, or is it kind of like the same steady messaging?
It's the same steady messaging. Also, you want to give them the best preparation you can as far as what the sub pattern might be and what the if-then scenarios will be. So you go over a couple of those with them, but for the most part, it's the work that those guys have been doing leading up to this point and the kind of the conversations with their individual coaches, which have gone really well. So, I just trust the work that they put in.
John, here in the front.
Joe, you've done this most of the season, or all season really, but past couple of days you've really been louder in fighting the narratives and what the perception of what's a good performance and kind of what people perceive. Why is it so important for you to fight that as loudly as you are?
I think the questions have allowed me to fight that. I don't think I've gone out of my way to do it. I think that you guys have asked really good questions based on that. So I've been able to take the question you guys ask and give my perspective on it. And so I think at the end of the day, it's about our team and it's about putting the guys in the best possible position to succeed and have an understanding that our guys are going out there and doing everything that they can as a team and why that's so important to long-term success. And I think that's what we're trying to achieve as an organization. But it doesn't happen unless the players decide to do it, and they're doing it, and you can't let that go unnoticed.
Right here in the center, just raise your hand. There we go.
Hey Joe, the guys have been talking about how you have this philosophy of, when you're the closest to winning, it's also when you're the closest to losing. Can you tell us where that comes from and also how you've been trying to impart it as you guys are up 2-0?
Yeah, like if you've ever been in a fight with someone and you think you're about to beat them, you usually get sucker punched. And so the closer you are to thinking you're going to beat them up, the closer you are to losing.
You also mentioned that you've spliced some UFC fights on that note into film sessions.
The closer you think you're going to submit someone is usually when you get submitted.
Yeah, but is there a fight in particular that that you put in?
There's a lot of them. Usually every single fight, but I think it was 302. Guy gets hit in the nuts, complains to the ref, and complains to the referee, gets distracted, and then he gets choked out the next round. So he lost his focus. You see Panetta gets hit in the nuts, looks at the referee, knocks the guy out 5 seconds later. So it's the approach to what happens to you and how you handle it. But the closer you think you are to beating someone, the closer you are to getting your ass kicked, and trying to expect the best out of Dallas, and we got to be ready for a fight.
Thank you, Coach.